Welcome back. We're talking about the families of radicalized men and women who've joined Islamic State. When they leave, their mothers, fathers and siblings are left to pick up the pieces. Another mother of an ISIL fighter joins me now from Calgary in Canada. Christiane Boudreau is the co-founder of Mothers for Life and Hayat Canada Family Support. Christiane, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Your son, Damien, left your home in Canada to go and fight in Syria. How did he come to join a group like ISIL?
It's a really good question. I mean, back then when he left, it was in 2012, and I'd never heard of Canadians traveling anywhere to fight with any extreme group of any sort. So it was unbeknownst to me in the beginning. After a period of time and doing a lot of research, I found out that he was part of another group of men that had all traveled, as well that they'd been praying together, studying together, working out, hiking, and doing lots of other activities. And that there was a ton of material on the internet that was there supporting documents for this cause and propaganda as well.
Now, when he left the country, where did he tell you he was going?
He told me he was going to Egypt. He was going there to study Arabic and linguistics, that he wanted to become an imam at some point. And I totally believed him. I had no reason to doubt what he was telling me.
And did you hear from him very often while he was outside the country?
When he first arrived there, which I thought was Egypt, it was actually Turkey. After about the first week is when I first started hearing from him. And then we spoke on the phone every 2 or 3 days, right up until December 23rd. And then he seemed to disappear off the grid for about 2 months. And during that time is when the Secret Intelligence Service here contacted me and let me know what was really happening and what was going on. And once those 2 months had passed, he again got in contact with me and we spoke every 2 or 3 days again for quite some time.
So what did they tell you?
Well, they came in and just started asking a lot of questions. They started asking if we recognized photographs, if we recognized names, if we had heard any of this information before, and that they suspected that, yes, he had indeed traveled, but they believed he had traveled to Istanbul, Turkey, and was there attending some sort of training camp and had likely already crossed the border into Syria at that point.
Now, you had tried to convince him to come home. You begged, you pleaded. What was his response?
He just kept asking me to stop begging, to stop pleading. It made it difficult for us to have conversations. Said I couldn't guilt him into coming home, that he was there to save women and children. They were being tortured and raped, brutally murdered, and nobody was doing anything about it. And this is what he needed to do.
Did he tell you anything about the people he was with in Syria?
He wouldn't say a whole lot of details. He would say, "Mom, you don't understand. There's a ton of people here that speak many different languages. There's so many of us, and we're all working in this together. And I'm being treated well. I'm being well fed. My faith is stronger than ever, and I'm healthier than I ever have been."
Now, your son died in Syria. How did you hear about his death?
I was contacted by a journalist here in Canada who had received a Twitter tweet. And in that Twitter tweet, it was Damien's eulogy with his Christian name alongside a photograph that he had posted on Facebook at the time.
So you learned about this via a tweet?
Basically, it was a tweet. The journalist had phoned me and asked me for a recent photograph so he could compare it to Damien's photograph in the eulogy, because he wanted to confirm that it was indeed Damien they were talking about, and he forwarded the tweet to me via email.
And what happened then? Did the Canadian authorities give you any help, provide any more information to you?
No, they couldn't provide me with any more information. Basically, they said they had no contacts, no way of confirming anything, and there was nothing they could do with regards to that. Basically, they gave me advice on, how to keep quiet and protect my family, and that was about it.
And what kind of information did you find out about the circumstances surrounding your son's death?
I got in contact with a few people that I knew that had connections over there, journalist connections, and all the stories I received, there's 3 variations, and I communicated with one of the fighters as well through Twitter, the one that posted the tweet. And all 3 contacts I had confirmed that he'd been killed just outside of Aleppo and Harrowing by the Free Syrian Army.
Your son was a very young man when he went over to Syria. Did you get the impression that he knew what he was doing?
No, I don't think he realized what he was getting himself into. I believe that he was desperately looking for a path to have meaning in life, to do something productive. That was something that was key for him. He wanted to help people. And in his mind, this was the best way to do it. He truly believed that that's what he was there for. Back then, when he first arrived, the brutality that we see today wasn't known. We didn't see it. We just knew of the Civil War and the infighting. We didn't understand necessarily all the groups, what was happening, or anything else at that point. And I don't think he did either. I don't think he saw past what he figured was the right thing to do, and it wasn't, obviously.
And we know that young people are very vulnerable to outside influences. Do you know if this is still going on?
It's still a regular occurrence. There's still kids leaving on a regular basis from all over the world. They're being drawn in, groomed by these people over the internet. They have resources 24/7 that can sit there, talk to them, groom them, make them feel special, important, convincing them that everything they're seeing on the media is a lie. That was something I heard from my son quite a bit, that the media told so many lies. And they don't know what to believe. And having these people surround them and saying this is a place of truth, this is a place of justice where we all live together, everybody's treated the same, everybody's looked after and provided for, you're going back to the basics, people don't divorce. What else can they believe? This is what they're seeing, and they're hearing it continuously.
Now, as we pointed out at the outset of the program, you belong to a support group. There are other mothers like yourself who've been through similar experiences. What do you do?
Well, because we're so far apart geographically, a lot of times we just Skype, talk to each other, communicate, support each other. If we're having a bad day, we reach out to one of the other mothers. It's a bond, it's a friendship. And we also support each other in our various movements that we're doing in our own respective countries. So if we're taking action, bringing other parents together, trying to support them, trying to create change and resources to stop our children from going, trying to develop messages and messaging over social media, anything that we can do to try to stop this phenomenon from happening on a proactive standpoint instead of reactive.
You know, I want to ask you something, and I know this is a very difficult question, but do you feel sometimes that there is something different you could have done that could have saved your son's life?
If I would have known, and if I would have been aware, if I would have had some sort of knowledge, yeah, I think I could have asked for help. I would have asked for my dad to fly in from France, intervention, and at last resort, I would much rather have seen him in jail than dead, because now we can't repair anything. We can't fix anything. There is no future. It's finished.
And what do you tell other mothers who are faced with similar circumstances?
Try to support them the best way we can. I mean, if there's times when they're emotional and need to scream and need to cry, just to be there and listen and not try to judge them. Nobody can judge what they're going through. It's horrific. The guilt, all the other emotions that you go through, it's horrific. And we need that compassion, we need that support, we need that understanding, because what they're experiencing is like being stuck in a black hole, a dark movie, and you can't get out, and you have no control over it. And all you can do is try to provide as much support and comfort as you can.
And Christiane, we can see this is very difficult for you. How does a mother like yourself continue to move forward after a tragedy like this?
You don't have a choice. I have to wake up every morning. I have another son that I have to look out for. I have to make sure that he has some kind of a life and future. And I have to fight for him every day. So therefore, I have to try to get up. I have to try to make it a better place for him to live in. I have to keep going and find something, some means to justify why I had to lose my son in the first place.
Do the Canadian authorities help in any way to prevent this happening, to counter this recruitment that is going on in Canadian cities and towns?
I think in the beginning they were at a loss as well. Not much information was shared with them with regards to the Security Intelligence Service who was gathering the information. They're not sharing it with them. So it's been a learning process all the way around for all of us. To this day, right now, the resources just aren't there for the initiatives to step in and support, intervene, prevent. We're not being supported enough on that end. As far as my local authorities here in the city of Calgary, they've been doing some great things with initiatives and programs and coming up with new programs, and I'm really proud to say that what they're doing can really help, and I'd like to see more of that fostered across the country and in other places as well. And hopefully we can keep progressing in a forward, proactive and positive way together, and that's the best we can hope for at this point.
Christiane Boudreau, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.